So, if you sell excipients, what is good technical support? That's what we're going to find out today.
1, 2, 3, 4.
So, welcome everybody to Excipient Talk, brought to you by galenIQ. I'm Michael Black, and today I'm talking to Ana. Hi, Ana. How are you?
Hi, Michael. Nice to be here.
Great. So, Ana, please introduce yourself to our audience.
Yeah, I'm a pharmacist, industrial pharmacist by training. I have a master's in quality by design, process optimization, troubleshooting, and so on. I've been working almost 20 years in, I would say, three sides of the industry, with a big pharma, excipient manufacturer, and now in distribution with Barents. So I help customers giving some tech support to improve their formulations and maybe help them to move forward to a next step.
Okay, great. Thanks for that. So you mentioned it, technical support. So how would you define good technical support in the context of pharmaceutical formulation development?
That's a great question. Tech support can be a very abstract term, but for me, what it's a good tech support, or the main mission of a tech support is to give an added value service to the customer, to the formulator. So we gather knowledge and experience. Sometimes some suppliers and distributors have labs. Sometimes we don't. But the idea is to bring all this information, this knowledge, and help the formulator from the pre-formulation step. When I have an API, I have to formulate maybe a tablet, a capsule. When you are in the first steps, we can also help them in the excipient selection, like a excipient toolbox, or to switch excipients, to optimize the formulation, to maybe adjust some components, some ratios, sometimes also process parameters. I don't know, maybe slow down the tableting speed, maybe change the geometry of a mixer, for example, a blender. Sometimes we have already products in the market and they are just about to be launched, and sometimes there are some specific points where we can troubleshoot, but it all depends, of course, the kind of customers and also the knowledge of the tech support, or as I call it, the techie experience. Yeah.
Right. So you mentioned already different stages of the development process. So at which point do you think, at which stage is the technical service most important and why?
Well, it will depend, as I said, on the technical support of the techie experience. Some of us are more experienced in maybe in excipient and solubility screening, preformulation. Some of us, we are experts or have more know-how and experience in process, scale up, scale down. But for me, having worked in the three sides, I think the excipient selection is the critical one. I think that's where we bring more value to understand, of course, what the excipient does, but especially what the excipient doesn't. It can be, I would say, we help the customer to understand their own limits, the possibilities.
Yeah.
The more information you get from the beginning regarding your API and your excipients, less headaches you will have in the long term, or at the end of your process. So the more support you get, and by support I mean knowing or giving information about the excipient types, the excipient grades, even the compatibility, the stability of the excipients, and also even the supply chain, the availability. Some grades can be very specific, and maybe you have some specific suppliers. We know now with geopolitical situations sometimes that can also affect the supply chain. So you need to know your excipients in a 360 way, not only in chemistry.
Right.
So then you will have less headaches in the future. And that actually, if you come back to this concept quality by design, which I still teach at the university, you have to know everything. You have to know all the source of variability of your formulation, and excipients, it's one of them. So I think even excipients needs a how do you say, a specific risk assessment, technical
Right.
risk assessment on
Right.
under activity, but also it's very logical
Yes.
nowadays.
Right. Okay. So you mentioned this quality by design and a technical risk assessment, but what are the most common formulation challenges that you get approached with?
Well, our portfolio is mainly oral dosage forms, centered around oral dosage forms, mostly solids. Of course, customers would prefer always to have a direct compression tablet, and that's
Yeah.
all. It's I just mix, lubricate, and go to the compression machine. But I think most of the inquiries we receive are about solid dosage forms. Most of the issues are related with tableting issues, or either capping, lamination, stickiness, chipping, all these kind of tableting issues related. We receive a lot of blending requirements. Why this is segregating? Can I avoid wet granulation? Sometimes
Yeah.
a question like that. Of course, it will depend on the formulation. So we try to find within our portfolio and our partners and our experience, because we are 3 tech supports in Europe. So we try to find the best fit within our portfolio and our knowledge to help the customers with these challenges. But sometimes it's a matter of lubrication, sometimes a matter of use a less hygroscopic excipient, for example, to match a particle size profile, distribution profile, these kind of issues.
Right. So you mentioned before that the more information you have about the API and et cetera, then the easier it is to find the solution. So what questions do you usually ask the customers before giving a technical recommendation?
Well, it's like going to doctor's office. I always say that to my sales managers, ask questions, and I also will ask questions. Since some years now, I have my own, I would say my own tools. I call it 5 questions to ask to your customer.
Right.
That's I always have it next to me or in my mind somewhere. But the main, I would say, if I should choose a first 5 questions, and then I will start looking more and more. But it's a Nutra product or a Pharma product, because Nutra industry cannot use sometimes some of the excipients using Pharma. Also, we know, I would say, the market trends, the restrictions. So that creates the first layer. Then, of course, the API. I always say the API is the king or the queen of the formulation. They will tell you the API 1, 2, or 3. They will tell you how they want to be formulated. So I need to know the API characteristics, the dose, hydrosolubility or liposolubility, LOC-P, pKa, all these parameters. Then I will go to the desired dose, if it is a tablet, capsule, solution, cream, whatever dosage form, the process, the intended process, or the available technology that the customer have. Sometimes they have just direct compression equipment, so I can at least sort out some ideas with that. Sometimes they are just doing capsules, sometimes it's soft gelatin capsules. So that also helps to, I cannot tell a customer use wet granulation because sometimes they are not equipped, and vice versa. And specifically, if they are already in a pilot scale or validation step and something is going wrong, what's the development or the manufacturing issue? Is like, as I said, capping, lamination. What is, I don't know, maybe some stability at some point. Sometimes I get customers saying like, hey, my tablet on a blister is broken already. I don't know what to do, or I don't know, I found some yellow points after 3 months stability. So we tried, of course, in relationship with the suppliers also, to get a solution for them. So, but even with that, sometimes I can come back even with more questions. So sometimes I just reply even with more questions. But that's, I would say, the basic, to try to sort to figure out some ideas for them.
Yeah, I mean, great questions. I can see it focusing in like a microscope onto the real issue. The point is, if the customer is able to share that information with you, with us, So, what role, you mentioned it also, what role does excipient selection play in de-risking the formulation development?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I always said, as I said before, the more information you have from the beginning, the better. So don't accelerate the first step. Take your time. Of course, we have pressure because, of course, we have to launch products. There are timelines, of course, but the more information and support you get from the beginning to choose the right excipients from the beginning, then the rest of it will be easier. I mean, even from a physicochemical point of view, I will also think about suppliers' quality. I would say, if we put aside all the chemistry and just the technical part, I will also will ask about the quality, the regulatory support, to have a reliable partner, a reliable supplier or distributor. And I think this is a reason why I really like to work with Barents. It's because we all get reliable suppliers. We are get together with like suppliers like Beneo and others in our portfolio. You need to have a good partner that brings you all the information. We can do our tech support, of course, but we need also, sometimes we go and knock the door. Hey, I have these customers. What information you can share? So that's, I would say, the first step. You have to focus a lot on excipient functionality, quality, support, regulatory. All the package is just not the sample you receive in your warehouse or in your lab. It's everything that is behind that. And I will also quote maybe Joseph Juran that said that quality can be planned, but most of the problems associated to quality comes from the origin, from not planning enough, not studying enough from the beginning, and create this design space from the beginning. So in my opinion, excipient selection, it's I would say, the core, before getting even to process. Excipient selection is the core.
Yeah, so getting it right from the beginning and not trying to fix the problem later on. Ideally.
Well, exactly. I've been on this industry almost 20 years now, and when I was working in big pharma, generic industry, but most of my time, I used to work a lot in troubleshooting or in already marketed products. So you cannot change the dossier, for example. It's something that it's on the pharmacy already. And we were trying to find a solution to avoid this tableting breaking in a blister, or an emulsion getting phase separation even before the packaging step, without changing formulation. It was pure troubleshooting, trying to find, I would say, patches. Of course, under the GMP, everything was under GMP, but trying to find out how to improve this product without a regulatory impact, of course. And the common point on all these most of the cases was the wrong excipient grade or type selection from the beginning. Or no limited risk assessment, narrow design space, single sources or single grades that disappear from the market at some point. And I'm still seeing that now on the distribution side. So that's would say that's my main job since 20 years now.
Yeah, so that's interesting because my next question, you mentioned troubleshooting at a later stage, not being able to change the formulation. So what can be like the major issues when a formulation moves from the lab to pilot stage or even to production?
Yeah, that's very tricky. That's a really good question. Thank you. I had a teacher who said always, remember that text transfer is never linear. What happens in a small lab scale, 1 kg or 1 liter of solution won't be the same at 50 or 100 or 1,000 liters or kg or tablets. Because the energy exchanges, the interface interactions are not the same in small scale and larger scale. Sometimes the equipment you have in the lab is not exactly the same that you have in the production line. The geometry can change, the speed, the limitation of the machines can be different. Holding times can be also has to be considered. What happens to your tablet after 1 hour, 2 hours, 24 hours, what happens to your powder, if there is a particle size difference, what will happen on a holding time of 3, 4, 10 hours. It's not the same. Everything is magnified or reduced, but you never know in which sense. But this is the principle also of transfer technology by design, to run a lot of tests, a lot of risk assessments, knowing your excipients, knowing your machines, even scale up or scale down. Sometimes even scale down is even more complex than scaling up. So I always said, if you don't like maths and statistics, stay out of it. Because you will review a lot of data. However, now with all this technology available, the tableting simulators, process analytical technology, and even all this new wave or machine learning improved with AI models, I think tech transfer and even product development will be easier with time. But that doesn't take out the element of knowing the excipients and all this. We are pharmacists or chemists, so we need to know the materials. But I think it will get in some way some more dynamic. We can use all these tools and have a broader picture to add pixels to the picture. So I think it will improve also process development and process scale up, of course.
Okay, yeah, great. So a very, very optimistic look to the future. So obviously, you do the technical support, you hope that the project is then successful. But how do you actually know if that technical support has really made a difference to the project?
Well, I have a very simple KPI. It's customer come back with more issues to solve. That means the solution work, the customer is happy. I always say, if customer is happy, I'm happier. If customer comes with new projects, with new issues, even sometimes when I go to customer visits, sometimes I visit once a year the same customer, and they bring some products into the table and say, hey, it worked. Now we are on validation or stability, but it worked, and I'm very glad. Of course, at the end of the day, there is an economical success. Of course, we have to have purchase orders and move volumes. We work in a distribution world. But when a sales manager comes back or sends me an email and tells me, hey, the customer implemented the solution or the recommendation, and now the product is about to be launched or in validation, that's That's for me a big indicator of success. But also, I would say the relationship we create with them, and also if the customer asks for some samples, even more, because okay, this product helped me, or I need something less hygroscopic, and you offer me this option. Can you tell me more about what do you have in your portfolio, isomols, or I don't know, starches, or
Hmm.
even cyclodextrins? That opens the door to even more partnership with more suppliers. So I think that's for me, internally, it's the KPI. Of course, we measure our performance internally, but for me, it's customer first.
Yeah. So yeah, that's a great explanation. As you said, there are many KPIs, which is great, but one that really struck me that you said was when the customer comes back with more questions, because to me that shows they really trust you. They're confiding in you, willing to give you more information, and I really think that is a very, very strong KPI. So thank you very much. So Anna, thank you very, very much for your insights and sharing your experience with us and your knowledge, and that you agreed to appear on the podcast. We're very, very grateful, and
A pleasure.
and hope to see you again soon in
Yeah, I hope to
reality.
see you
Yeah,
soon. Yeah, face to face. Thank you very much
yeah.
for the invitation. It was a pleasure. It's a very interesting exercise also. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So, and thank you everyone for joining today. And we will see you again on the next episode of Excipient Talk, brought to you by galenIQ. And I will see you soon.